Hello, my friends, and yes, this is not an actual book. If you're like, hey, that don't look like a book, this is a PDF. This is how I have to deal with PDFs because I don't have, in my mind, I can't justify having a pad. And so to download the stuff to a pad, and then there's some inconvenience factors. I would, even if I had a pad, a notepad or something like that, I would be real leery to take it with me to work. I mean, if you've seen the environment that I work in and I work around all the time, it's just not conducive to electronics. I go through a phone every year at the minimum because of the conditions where I work in. So the idea is that having a physical item I can bring with me. Now, some of my older fragile stuff, I ain't leaving the house, but newer stuff I have no problem bringing and then setting it in the dash of the truck or on the passenger seat while I'm waiting, and I can go through it, read through it, look up things, take notes out of it while I am waiting for the truck to pump the contents out of an interceptor, for example, which can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending how big it is, how deep it is, how thick the stuff is, etc. I have gotten more comfortable using SarnaNet for quick reference material, so when I'm trying to work on stuff for this channel and I'm taking notes for things and trying to fact check a little bit, and yeah, I know sometimes it might not seem that way, but I actually do fact check. So about a month ago, there was this Humble Bumble, and I'm using the wrong because I know there's a couple bundles, and I purchased one of these was 30 bucks, had about 20 PDFs or pretty close to it in there, and one of those PDFs was the ilClan source book. And I didn't acquire the book when it first came out because I actually hadn't rediscovered BattleTech at that point. So really, in reality, I'm only really recently becoming more engrossed in BattleTech and the lore and the stories and the community. So whenever this came out in a physical form, it was shortly after that I started reviewing stuff for my channel. At that point, it kind of rewoke my interest in it, and then I discovered just how much more and developed and further it had come in 20 years, and how vibrant the community is, which just surprised me to no end. So obviously, I do this sort of stuff. Taped it on there in order to, that way it sits on the shelf. I'll be able to look at the shelf and go, okay, I know what that book is without having to pull it off. And everything got printed out. Now I'm fortunate. One of the perks I have is where I work at. I also work in the office X amount of hours a week, and I have access to their big ass Xerox machine. And although I tend to be I ran out of the color cartridge while printing this, which is why it transitions to black, and it's color up until it hits black, until it doesn't. And from future preferences, I will probably just only do the covers in color because I'm not trying to burn through hundreds of dollars worth of these things colors wise. It's trying to get in trouble with the boss lady who runs the office. Anyway, there's such thing as overdoing things. I read through this and looked up at a lot of the material in here. If you have Hour of the Wolf, if you have novel Hour of the Wolf, the first half of this book, if not more than the first half, is the Hour of the Wolf. So it doesn't give you a whole lot more extra information on the lead up to the invasion of Terra, or the logistics chain, or any kind of background material other than what was in the novel, which is fine. So the question would be, in my mind, which came first, the novel or the source book? Generally, they kind of get, my guess is they kind of run tandem. Different writers are working on the project at the same time, and they try to correlate and work together as best they can. So from a lore perspective, walking through the battles and the engagements, and that's exactly what this does. This takes you through the major engagements, the major battles on Terra itself, up until the fall of and surrender of the Republic, and then the trial of possession run between Wolf Clan and Jade Falcons to become ilClan, which is also fine. I'm not knocking it, right? We get the death of the Republic. Then we get the Battle of of Terra, the trial to end all trials. See, some of these would have been nice if they hadn't got into color, but like I said, I got to the point where I'm not going to burn through hundreds of dollars with ink cartridges or toner cartridges for that printer at work, because then I'd have to explain why are we using cartridges so fast. All right, so we're back to most of this stuff. You could just read the book and just get everything you need to know and not really come out any better or worse knowledge-wise. It's not until we get back into the later part that things start to bring us some more additional information, the last chapter or whatever. So we get a little bit understanding of what comes out of the transition and Alaric's rise to being ilKhan, and still some of this stuff, like the 30 pieces of silver, how Alaric treated the wolf dragoons who came, he repaid their treachery as far as he concerned it, and so in 30 pieces of silver. That was also in the novel. Doesn't really go into any more detail, right? We do get a little bit of expanded view. So then we get to this section here that things really start, the value of the source book starts to crop up, because it gives us a brief view of what is going on across the inner sphere at this particular time, and how to benefit from the larger view, the larger picture, right? And that's kind of what really interests me, and I tend to go back and reread this again, because in truth, this is all old news now. As a Battletech, we're already into the Dominion, what is that, Dominion Divided or whatever, right? Empire Divided something. I don't know if they have a Dominion Divided sourcebook yet or not. I know I bought a couple, because I got Tamar Rising over here, and I got Empire Alone or something out there in the living room. And I don't know if they did have to look it up. So this stuff here, this is the section that had the most interest to me, the most value, and I need to go back and reread it probably a couple times over the next year or 2 or 10, because I'm never going to be trying to catch up with the Joneses, plus many years of missed stuff. And then we got, we shall drive them into sea. So this is a game set up for recreating the battle, several of the keystone battles of Terra, which is great if you want to go, if you're into that sort of thing, if that's your gig, or you just want to have a quick battle and have some meaning. It's all great. So we got some technical readouts and a couple new mechs. It's typical of most of these source books that they're going to try to introduce something, yet some more toys. So, and now I know that the print's off just a hair, because I got the pages got skipped somehow, and I did not want to go back and try to reprint everything. So they're slightly backwards. So I believe, the Firestorm's visual here, by right should be here, and then here's their entry for the TRO portion of it, and nothing wrong with it, right? It still serves its purpose. It still works. A lot of new mech designs, or introducing existing designs, which, like I said, when I did the video on the Succession War TRO, I pointed out that is quite a common thing. And then of course your record sheets. These are more like the traditional record sheets that I'm used to, than those little short cardboard ones that come in the boxes, which recently did a video on the beginner box that I got for free from the Humble Bumble. Although I guess that's not really free. I did pay the bundle people for it, and then of course I paid the shipping to Catalyst to have it shipped to me. So this allows me to have a physical version of the ilKlan source book, which allowed me to read through and get a better access to it. It's much easier also for me to read this format than it is to try to read it from the internet, because I always get distracted easier. When I'm home with the laptop, I'm doing things with my laptop, generally speaking, or I'm dealing with home life things that you got to do with, and your wife, and the 400,000 cats that we're looking after, the 15 cats we're looking after at this point. And personal work and other items of that nature and other projects that I'm trying to work and trying to get done. I am still slogging my way through my what if the clan is never invaded. I will get to it eventually. It's just slow going. Part of it is it's when I do have time to write on things that my brain's just tired. I worked, not that you care, not that you care, but I worked whopping 55 hours last week in 4 days. Right, and so yesterday, basically had yesterday off, and we ran all our errands, and then I was in the evening. I was working on some stuff for getting things prepped for doing videos this morning. This is Saturday morning. This is the 3rd, yeah, the 3rd, and doing a little little housekeeping and some other things that needed to get done. And then by the time the evening came, I was just my creative juices were stymied. I watched Red's podcast for a little while, threw in a couple comments, and then zoned out and went to bed. Anyway, that's my life. How's yours? Till next time. Going on, my friends. This is Rick, and hey, if you like the channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your buddies, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell anybody else that's in the gaming industry or gaming fandom that says, hey, this is a channel worth checking out, right? Till next time, I hope you guys have yourself